What is up, y'all? We are live, and I'm a little concerned. Now I'm not. Okay, things are looking good. So, my CPU was reading really, really low, and I was afraid for a minute that it was going to be acting a little buffery. So, what is up, guys? Um, Welcome to another live stream on Jeffroz FishKeeping. I had a really busy day. I was up late again last night. I don't know what the deal is here lately. I have been really staying up late and getting up early still. I'm a night owl and an early riser in the same person. So last night it was like after 2 before I went to bed, and then up and at 'em this morning, and I started off having a really awesome, I had an awesome day altogether, but a few weeks back on Facebook, can you guys hear me pretty good anyhow? I don't know if you guys can hear me, but started off a few weeks back. I saw a Facebook post from a local guy here that I've known for quite a few years, and he just had a picture of a koi pond, and I reached out to him and asked him if I could do a video on it, and he was like, yeah, it's a little, there's not much there. I don't think you'd get a video out of it. I said, at least let me come by and look at it. Well, I put him off 2 different weekends, and I reached out to him this weekend and asked him if I could run out there and take a look at it. And when I got there this morning and he started talking, I was like, wow, this really would make for a good video. He just didn't think it would, but it's a koi pond that's been going for over 20 years, and it is going to turn out to be pretty good. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. It's not gigantic. There's not a ton of koi fish in there, but the video is going to turn out good. So I'm really stoked about that. What else went on today? Let's see. Can't remember really doing all that much. I didn't get any of my water changes done today. I did do a little bit of editing today, and then at 5 o'clock today, so 2 hours ago, I went to my LFS and I did a fish room tour video at his place. And I don't know how good it's going to turn out yet. I've looked at all the clips and it's not that bad, but this storefront has been open for 35 years, and the actual business name has been going for 42 years. So really cool, really cool. It'd turn out good as far as I'm concerned, but it's not like, crazy. I mean, I enjoy the LFS. It's my go-to place, Blaine, the owner, is really knowledgeable. His mom and dad started this before he was born. I don't know how old he is, but when he was little at least, and really enjoyed it. It's the first time I've ever done a video like this, and I did 2 of them in one day, so I'll have those coming down the pipe here before too long. But let's go ahead and take a look at the chat and see who all's here. Mr. B's Fishing Things is here. What is up, Brandon? Candy Overalls is here, and she goes, almost to Denver. Where are you? Yeah, I'm sure you know by now, but I didn't make it. It's really depressing, but I'll be back, and hopefully we can get it figured out to where you're there at the same time. Tampa Tom is in the house. What is up, Tampa Tom? Welcome to the live stream. John Bedker is here. What is up, John? Jad Orsi is in the house. How are you tonight? Let's see, Mortal Slayer 82. What is up, everybody? Adrian Castillo says, I'm actually here. Well, welcome, man. Yeah, I haven't seen you on a stream in a while. I know you're still kicking out there because I see you all the time, but 54 Punchy is in the house. She says, hey, fishy internet people. What is up, Ms. Punchy? Steve Salty Shrimpery and more is here. Time to relax finally. Good timing I got. Yep, that is you know, there's not very many people that go live on Saturday nights, so that kind of helps me a little bit. But um, yeah, let's just kick back, and I don't really have anything going, so we might even do a long one. Who knows? Um, let's see. Corey Boy Aquatics says, "What's up, Jeffro? What is up, Fish Fam? What is up, Corey Boy?" Rickard Rocks says, "Hello. What is up, Rickard?" Tampa Tom says, "I can see and hear you clear on my end." Steve says, "Hey, Jeffro. Looks good, audio good, thank you." Michelle Angel is here. She says, "Yes, it's good sound." Okay, cool. Mary RNH2O is in the house. What is up, Mary? Jan in Keller says, "Jeffro, hey man, everything sounds and looks good." Romaine Paul is in the house. Haven't seen you in forever, Romaine Paul. What is up? Daryl Deemer is here. He says, "Hey Jeffro, what is up, Daryl? Welcome to the stream, buddy. Welcome to the stream." Punchy says, "I have two of my daughters visiting from Portland. They are off on a swimming adventure right now, so I get a chance to relax." Awesome. Always nice to see the kiddos. Jad says, "I got a new puppy, or sorry, new guppy male today. Let the guppy multiplying begin." Yes. Corey Boy says, "Just driving home from work." Awesome. Let's see. Mary says, "Hello, Jeffro. I'm putting away my groceries." Cool. Romaine Paul says, "It feels like I saw you just yesterday." Charlie says, "Hey, sorry I'm late." Well, no problem, Charlie. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you made it. Jesse Tank says, "What's good, man? New to your channel as of last week. Just got off at USPS. I love your videos." Well, thanks a lot. Always nice to see the new subscribers coming in, and I appreciate you coming into this stream. And we do this on Wednesdays and Saturday nights, and we just get together and hang out. So, Jad Orsi says, "In my house, a puppy is just as likely as a guppy." Yes, same. Well, no, I can take that back actually. I don't take in dogs all the time like you do, but I noticed the other day, I always forget the name of it, but fostering. I think if I remember right, the other day I saw that Jad takes in dogs as foster. So that is really cool. I've never got into fostering. Biggest reason why is because Dozer doesn't get along with other dogs, so. And that just wouldn't be good. Let's see here. Everybody's saying hi to Punchy and Charlie and Daryl. Brandon says, "Unless we get a bonus milestone stream." Yep. Last night, I was thinking about doing it Thursday night, and I kind of got lazy throughout the day and decided not to. So then I kind of got to thinking maybe I'll do it after Lucas gets over with, to where maybe I could tell everybody that I was going live, and maybe that would bring some more people over. I haven't watched the whole thing back. I know it was buffering quite a bit. Really stinks too because, excuse me, I was never any farther than like 10 or 15 foot away from my wireless router, and I still buffered. So that tells me it's got to be something to do with, you know, maybe YouTube servers or something. I don't know. But I watched a little bit of it, and it just is what it is. A lot of my tanks, I do know, after I got done, a lot of my tanks aren't really, you know, fish room tour ready, if you will. It's just, it just is what it is, you know. I mean, There's a lot of tanks, like this little 10-gallon quarantine tank over here. It's terrible when you look in it. I got a lot of work to do on that, but yeah, it just is what it is. I enjoyed doing it. I had been meaning to do one for a while. I kind of like to try to stay away from full fish room updates, you know, because if you kind of run out of content a little bit, you can do an update video on one of your aquariums. And whenever you got like 30 of them, it gives you a little bit of leeway. So if, you know, you're having troubles coming up with content, you can always shoot to a tank that you haven't showed people in a long time. Well, if you do a live stream and you show all of your aquariums, that kind of gets rid of that, but not really, because I could technically do an update video on one of those, and you'd get better footage than from the cell phone. You know, my cell phone, of course, it is like a iPhone 6, so it's kind of older, but the colors and all that kind of stuff don't turn out that great. So okay, I missed it if it was there in the chat somewhere, but Lumpy Dog has showed up, and he didn't do Lumpy Dog in the house, but Lumpy Dog is in the house. So what is up, Lumpy Dog? Mr. B's Fishing Thing says we have to remember what's healthy and what's prettier, not always the same. Yep, and that's what it is. Like, I would like to get rid of a bunch of the green hair algae. The biggest reason is because, like, it kind of gets to where it clogs things up and it stinks. Green hair algae stinks. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, you know, the very first time that I went into my LFS, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I mean, there's algae on the, you know, glass and blah, 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 blah. But I usually only, if I clean the glass on any of my tanks, it's the front viewing window. The sides and the back, I always leave alone, because 9 times out of 10, I have something in that tank that will graze on that, you know. So, yep, nowadays I get it more, you know, than what I used to. I used to think I had to have clean, all 4 of the glass clean, you know, clean, 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 but it's not that way anymore. And the more and more aquariums you get, the harder it is to even keep up with that anyhow. And if it's healthy and good, that's all that matters. Jesse Tank says, do you breed shrimp? Yep. I've got 4 different types of Neocaridina shrimp. I don't have any Caridina shrimp, but I do have a couple of different grades of red cherry shrimp. I've got a fire red grade, and then I've got just your, you know, lower grade cherry shrimp. And then I've got some Fantasy Blue Dreams. And then I've got some black Neocaridina shrimp that are just solid black. And then I've got a wild Neocaridina that there isn't any telling at all what they will shoot out. Just all kinds of different colors and stripes and everything. It's just crazy. But you can go back, Jesse, on my channel and see some of the videos. I think I got a video on just about every shrimp that I have. So Adrian Castillo says, Jeff, are you going to the fish swap in Davenport tomorrow? Probably not. I've got 3 to 4 videos that I need to get done, and I need to get all the water changed in all of my aquariums. So I'm probably not going to go over there. Yeah, I'm just not in a big enough need for fish right now. And I have a lot of work in the fish room to get done, including I need to get 3 videos done. I'm off for, was off Friday, today, tomorrow, and Monday. And my goal is to try to get 4 videos done, you know. So I'm on my first 4-day weekend that I've had probably since around the holidays or something like that. And I'm working, you know. Like today was a really busy day. It was enjoyable, but it was busy. Real thing for you, Fish Take says, I love the smell of prime. Not. So my story of the smell of prime was the first time I bought a bottle of prime and had anything to do with prime. I bought it at my LFS, and the tag on it was real dingy, and there was some dust around the top and everything. So to me, that made me think that it had been on the shelf for quite a long time. And I got it home and used it, and it smelled like Prime smells. And I thought for sure that it had just went bad, and I thought that the stink was because it had just soured or whatever you would say. And then it was soon after that I heard from somebody that it just stinks, and that's the way it is. So yay. Yeah, Prime. And you always tend to get it on your hands, and then your hands smell like it. Okay. Lumpy Dog says, I only clean the front also. It's just the right thing to do. Yep. I've got tons of stuff that loves it, so. JC's Tank says, hey there, Fish Fam. What is up, JC? Jesse Tanks is, oh, okay. Real thing for you, 100 here, and my tank are running at 90. Oh my gosh, 100 degrees? Yeah, I didn't get that hot today. I think it was 80s here today. I don't know that for a fact. Just going by what the difference in yesterday and today was. If you guys came to my stream last night, sometime mid-afternoon yesterday, we had a severe thunderstorm here with high wind and a buttload of rain. I mean, it just came all of a sudden out of the blue. And it was 101 heat index here where I live in southern Iowa. And then up in northern Iowa, about an hour and 45 to 2 hours away, it was 72 degrees heat index. So like a 30-degree swing. And then whenever that came down in, it just caused it to just break open and great big giant thunderstorm. Jesse Tank says Prime smells better than Repashy. Yeah, there's some of those Repashis are, I mean, all of the Repashis stink, but there's some of them that's the only smell like that in the whole world. I mean, it is just, ugh. Sandy Doty is in the house and says, crap, I'm late. Hi all. What is up, Sandy? Welcome to the stream. Better late than never. We're probably going to go for long tonight, you know. I don't have anything to do. I've already ate supper. My youngest son is at his mom's for the weekend, and my oldest son is at a buddy's house to spend the night, and it's just me and Dozer and Mia tonight, and the fishies and the froggies. So yep, that is it. JC Tanks, are you going to the Fish Frenzy in Iowa tomorrow? Is that over in Davenport? I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I've just got way too much going on tomorrow, JC. I've got like 3 videos to finish editing tomorrow, and I need to make a video tomorrow too. And the video that I need to make is a complete takedown of a tank, and it is going to be a lot to it. It's just crazy. So I'm on vacation, and I'm not really heavily looking. What happens is I see a bunch of Facebook posts every time Davenport does one of those, and I don't go, and I see a bunch of posts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have went, because that fish swap that was back in April, there was some really amazing plecos there that I really wish that I would have went and grabbed a few. Mary RNH2O says Repashy can smell horrendous. Yes, it can. John Bedker says it's about 75 miles for me. I usually sell, but not this time. 80 tables and over 1,100 people at the last one. Yeah, good grief. Lumpy Dog says all plants, including algae, help buffer against ammonia spikes and help keep nitrates in check. Yes, they do. So, you know, going back to that story, you know, the very first time that I went to his shop, I mean, there's a ton of tanks that have just a big hunk of Java moss, and it's just spread throughout. And then also, just to give you guys a little heads up, this guy, I don't think I got it for one of the B-rolls. I was wanting to video it, but he had a couple of antique tanks. There's a lot of antique stuff in the store, and I really wish that I would have grabbed a little bit more B-roll, but I could probably pop in there tomorrow When I was looking at the B-roll, there was a few things that I wanted to get, but his mom and dad used to go to swap meets and different things like that, and they would pick up stuff to do with aquariums that were antiques. And there's a couple of little 5-gallon antique, metal rimmed aquariums that are like a green metal. They're just bizarre looking, but this fish store has been open at this location for 35 years, and they've been doing it for like 42 years. They started out in their basement, and then they moved into this store. But it is what it is. There's no perfect crystal clear tanks in there. There's a bunch of antique aquarium, like all those little ceramic things that you can put in aquariums, like the little castles and all that kind of stuff. I would say at one time years ago they probably used to sell those, but then they decided to put them in the tank, and there's algae buildup on those things, and it just is what it is. I love the store though. It's my go-to. Daryl is asking what Fish Frenzy is, and I think what it is, Daryl, is over in Davenport. They're doing just kind of like a fish swap thing. Dank Tanks is in the house, and he says, yo, what is up, Dank? Welcome to the stream. Sergeant Tank Pets is here. What is up, Jeremy? Jesse Tank says, yeah, go long. I'm looking at a 45-minute drive. Yeah, I'll probably go long. I haven't done, every once in a while I like to throw in a 2-hour stream here and there, and I haven't done that. Sorry about that. Haven't done that in a long time, so I don't like to promise how long I'm going at the very beginning, but let's just say I'll probably go longer than an hour tonight, as long as people are here and we got plenty of things going on. Yeah, Mr. B's Fishing Thing says vacation, ? Yeah, I haven't really took a whole week off since 2012, and I'm not taking off a week this time. I was supposed to go out to Colorado to meet up with some other YouTubers, and things went sour the day before. Had some issues with getting a rental car and different things like that, so I went ahead and canceled it for now. It stinks, it sucks, but so what I'm doing now is I'm working in the YouTube job, That's what I'm staying busy with. That's what I did all day today, and I'll do that tomorrow too. I don't know if I'll have any time off Monday. I might just go to the lake or something. Tankiness. Jesse Tank says, I cook rapashi when my girlfriend is mad at me. She will leave me alone after that. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I remember one time I boiled the water and then I dumped the rapashi into it, and it fizzed up and acted like it was trying to overflow. So now what I do is I bring the water close to a boil, not quite, not a rolling boil at all, but I cut it down a little bit to where it's not really crazy, and then I pour it into the rapashi slowly is what I do, and that works a little bit better. But it does stink. That Soylent Green, oh my gosh. Corey Boy Aquatic says, alright, going home now. Yeah, to Jesse. Too funny. So Mary says, oh my goodness, I need to use that tactic, Jesse Tanks. Do you have a girlfriend, Mary, that you need to leave you alone? Lumpy Dog says, Jeffro, how close to the Illinois border are you? I'll be in Sterling, Illinois in October. Whoopsie. I just lost the rest of it. No, that was my cousin from Southern Missouri calling me, Lumpy Dog. I lost your question. Okay, in October for an ultra marathon. I've never really timed it before. I don't know where Sterling is, but I think I'm like 3.5, 4 hours away from Chicago. So I would say 2 hours to 2.5 hours to get to the Quad Cities part of Illinois. Somewhere around in there. Mary asks, anybody going to this year's aquatic experience? Well, I really wish that it wasn't in New Jersey. I'm sure that helps other people. I wish it was in Chicago again, because if it was, I would probably go to it. Mr. B says, I like my retro tank. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. It'd be nice to have one. Daryl Deemer says, hour away from me. Dank Tank says, hanging man, been editing, and you know I gotta do it on my phone. LOL. Yeah, I thought, since you were sending me some little clips today, that that's what you were probably doing. Couldn't tell what you were doing with it, but they were bangers, though. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see here. Jesse says, it's like, babe, want to yell at me and smell that? Yeah, really. Mary RNH2O says, cool, I'm going to try to make it. I bought 2 tickets, but I live very far away, so I got to figure it out. Yeah, if anyone in the chat knows when that is, I think it's like September. So you got to figure out how to get from down in, what is that, the Peach State that you live in, all the way up to Jersey. You got to get up there close to Dank, to the Jersey Shore. That's what I do. JC Tanks, Illinois here too. Quite the Midwestern crowd here. Yeah, no kidding. There for a long time, I didn't really think there was too many YouTubers from Iowa, you know. But there are. They're out there. There's a bunch of fishy people. Daryl says he's going to be at Aquatic Experience. That's awesome. Real Thing for You says in Baco, Cali. Let's see here. Dank says, bangers, no more, sucker. Peter says, okay, Jeffro, I ordered a trio of Minnesota Viking guppies. The American Purple International Fancy Guppy Association show quality from IFGA Master Breeder Stephen Quartler. That is awesome, man. I cannot wait to see those things. Awesome. Real Thing for You says, I got a 40-gallon stainless steel retro tank. Sweet. That is awesome, man. Mary RNH2O says, AE is in October this year. Peter says, fly to Newark. Don't go anywhere else. Flying in for the aquatic experience. Cool. Mr. B says, hard to find a stainless top. I'm still looking. Yeah, I would say it would be. And you'd probably have to pay an arm and a leg even if you found one. And the worst part about it is, I'm sure back then there wasn't a bunch of standard sizes, you know, in gallons. Like nowadays, there's a bunch of standardized stuff, you know, so more commonly found stuff. But you go to, and I would say also you'd probably have to have a place build a replica, probably. I'm sure there's places out there like that. Yeah, Lumpy Dog says, Jeffro made it to the bottom of the chat. I sure did. I sure did. There's 25 people watching, so we could look and see how many likes. I can't see how many likes we have, so I don't know. Really don't know. Mr. B says, I probably would. That's why I made the glass one for now. Yep. I've only got one tank that doesn't have a rim on it, and I did that on purpose because it's got a big old giant piece of driftwood that comes out of it, and it looks better with those that it comes out of it if it doesn't have that black line across it. So I took the rim off. It was a job. It was a lot of work. Dank Tank says whoop whoop. And Lumpy Dog says 15 likes. Peter says, is there a good way to find discount glass tops for aquariums? I have my LED light. Boy, I really don't know. I know that you can save a lot of money by making them yourself. I know that King Lee goes to, what is it, Menards or something like that. He buys these little pieces of glass, and then he did this little DIY sliding glass top. They were 4 10-gallon tanks, but the glass wasn't the exact size, so he used a little cheapo glass cutter tool, and he cut them. So like this week I was setting up an aquarium, well, not an aquarium, but a tank, let's say, one of my secrets, and I needed a glass top for it, and I measured it all out, and I went down to my local glass shop, and I had them cut it, and it was $7. It was like 16 something by 17, something like that. It was $7, so that's pretty cheap actually. So I'll keep that in mind if I ever want to buy it, you know, like make another top. Yep, Dank says make your own. Craigslist. Dank says make your own, but then he said, but I just buy them. Brandon says, I make them, Peter. Yeah, Lumpy Dog says Home Depot and a glass cutter. Jad says, I make all mine out of that wibbly plastic from Home Depot. Yeah, Jesse Tank says Dank Tanks is such a fire name. It sure is. Please tell me you medicate. That is awesome. Tampa Tom says my tanks get too dusty without a glass top. They evaporate a lot too fast too. Yeah, I lose a lot of evaporation out of all my tanks that don't have tops. I would say 75% of my tanks don't have tops, and I would say it's probably even a little bit more than that. I don't really notice them getting too dusty, but they evaporate. Charlie says greenhouse polycarbonate panels work great. Yep, I got a big panel of that as well. It's really easy to trim to fit, and then you can get like cheap dresser drawer knobs, and you can poke a little hole in the bottom, or you can just drill a little hole in it that you can put your finger in and just kind of lift them up too. But you can put a dresser drawer handle on them or anything. Yeah, Adrian says they're actually not too expensive to buy. You can find them for really cheap. You can find them for really expensive too, but I bet you can get them cheaper by ordering them. Mary says, I just wait for $1 per gallon. I'm not talented enough to make one. Dank with the tree emoji. The green evergreen tree. That's funny. Jesse Tank says, any recommendations on things to do to increase baby shrimp survival rates? I have moss and rocks. I can't think of anything else other than that. Maybe, gosh, I really don't know, man, because that's what I do. Maybe check and see how hard your water is. If your water's too soft, you might harden up the water a little bit, but I don't know, man. I don't really have a lot of problems losing shrimp. So do you have them in by themselves, or do you have other stuff in there with them? Dank says just order glass tops on Amazon, then when they come with one panel you can fix it. Peter says $1 a gallon restarts at Petco tomorrow. That is awesome. That is really awesome, actually. I need to get a 40-gallon breeder to grow out some super red baby plecos. Yeah, Dank says rock piles. If you said you had rocks in there, I always do like a big pile every one of my shrimp tanks, but this one over here, this 40-gallon breeder, which I need to do something about that actually. I keep on saying it, but I do lava rock. I do a big pile of lava rock, and what happens is the food gets down in the lava rock to where everything else that's in the aquarium can't get to it, and those big buried females go down in there, and the shrimplets stay in there until they're a little bit bigger. You hardly ever see them until they're a little bit bigger because of that. They just live off of what's in there, you know. Dank Tank says rock piles, big ones. Yep, definitely. Mary RNH2O says woo hoo. Jad Orsi says, well, what are the wibbly ones called then? I don't remember what it's called either. Yeah, Dank says mulm. Mulm is good for shrimpies and plecos and fry of any type. I don't remember what that stuff's called, Jad. Whenever you Google it, just type in that greenhouse polycarbonate stuff, and it's like hollow. It's like, yeah, it's really cheap. I got a great big like 6 foot by 3 foot sheet of it for like maybe $8, something like that, shipped to my door. John Bedker says you can get that get plastic lids cut to exact size from most hardware stores around for $5 for 10s and $8 for 20s. Yep, that's pretty cheap. Jesse Tank says, I'm from Sacramento, Cali. We are the city of trees. I've never heard that before. Dank says, what's your filter situations? Oh, I think he's talking to the shrimp person. Corrugated panels. Yep, they're corrugated polycarbonate. So corrugated polycarbonate greenhouse panels is what you should Google, Jad. Corey Boy Aquatic says, Jesse, I'm from Southern California. Lumpy Dog. Okay, he's talking to loony per little liter sale. Mary says, I'm getting 2 20-gallon tanks to separate my guppy strains. Awesome. Yep, I do a lot of that nowadays. I keep most of my live bearers apart. This little 30-gallon down here, I've got all of my swordtails in, only because it's a small colony and they're really slow at breeding. And then that 55-gallon back there, I've got every one of my platies in the whole house in there, and they're really exploding right now. So I've got them all together now. Lumpy Dog says, I second the lava rock pile. I have them in all my shrimp tanks. Yeah, the lava rock works perfect. They really like it. Poly greenhouse roof. Okay, cool. Twin wall polycarbonate. JC's tanks. Thank you, JC. Oh. Yeah, I've never had, Corey Boy says, I need to get some 40-gallon and some 20s. I've never had 20 longs. I'd almost like to get a couple of 20 longs. I like that footprint. They look really nice. I am at the bottom of the chat, guys. Good grief. I can't believe it. Corey Boy says, I'm kind of starting my fish room. I know one thing, I can't stop. I'm setting up a new stand right now, and I was trying to make it to where a 40-gallon breeder could go on the bottom of it, but it would have been really tight for walk room through my dining room, so I decided to back out, and now I don't even really have room for a 10-gallon on the bottom, which I'm not done with it yet, so I could make it bigger. Yeah, Jad says, I trade you a 20 for a bigger tank, Jeffro. Steve, let's see what Steve, 20 longs are my favorite. Yeah, I've never had one before, Steve, but I really love them. Mary excuse me. Mary says, how does one make a cheap, whoa, but efficient tank stand? Well, if you go back quite a ways on my channel, I made a video where I built my fish rack stand in my dining room, and all I did is buy those. Sometimes you can get them less than $1. They're those concrete cinder blocks. They're like either 16 or 18 inches long, and then you buy like 4 or 5 2x4s, and you stack up your cinder blocks, and then you put your 2x4s across them, and then you put one tank down, and then you stack up some more cinder blocks, and then you put 2x4s across it, and you just keep on going up. And you've got to do a lot of figuring out. So like right here, there's one right here. If you kind of look, let's turn it a little bit so you can see it better. See that one, Mary? So that one has 5 cinder blocks. So I've got 1 cinder block on the floor, and then you space out your 2x4s to where your tank can be supported on all 4 corners. And then on this one, when I originally set it up, I only had 3 cinder blocks, so up to this level, and then a board across here. But that only left me like, man, I can't even get my hand. That only left, you know, like to the top of that cinder block space to get into my tank. So the last time I took this bottom tank down, I went ahead and bought another set of concrete blocks and then raised it up to where now I've got a lot of room inside here. I'm not very good at pointing backwards. But that stand, you know, those blocks were like 86, no, I think those blocks were 50 cents each. I got those on Menards. They were one that a contractor had bought, but they brought them back, so they were like 50 cents each. So 10 of those was $5, and then the 2x4s was like what, $4 a piece. So three 2x4s, 8 foot long. So that was $12. So $17 to build that stand for 2 aquariums. And I could have probably, you know, you can make them all kinds of different lengths too, and for different size tanks. So that's my go-to. Like the stand that I'm building right now, that's what I did. I went out to Walmart and bought some concrete blocks. They were $1 a piece. Corey Boy says, I buy Home Depot metal stand and cut it down and weld it back. Cool. Mary says, nice, I can pull that one off, I think. If you go to Corey from Aquarium Co-op's channel, you might have to look. I don't know if he's got a playlist that says Fish Room Builds or something like that, but he built really long ones in one fish room one time, and he built them to where you could put 40-gallon breeders on them or 55-gallon aquariums on them. Like he built one that you could put 2 20-gallons on the top shelf and the middle shelf and the bottom shelf, and then 55 gallons, you know. And it's cheap. I mean, like me, all the tools that I needed was just a circular saw, you know, just measure and cut. It's really important that before you set your blocks down and you cut your wood, to measure your gap in the middle for your tank that you're going to put on it. But they're really solid. Susie Q is in the house. What is up, Susie? She says lurking here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Susie. We know not to talk about you now that you're here lurking. Oddball Aquatics says, hey, I made it in. LOL, how is everyone? We're doing great. How are you doing? Boy, I'm way behind in the chat, evidently. Mary says, okay, cool. I got to check that out. I'm writing this all down, by the way. Yeah, I don't do a lot of how-tos and step-by-steps. I do a lot of DIY stuff, but I tend to stay away from, you know, step-by-step stuff. I think in my video, I do link Corey's videos in it. So if you go back and find my video, Mine might be easier to find because I think I've got a little under 200 videos, where I think Corey's got like 1,200 videos to siphon through on his channel. Jesse Tank says, my TDS meter just came in yesterday. The temp reader is off. Should I return it? Or is that not that big of a deal? I think a temp reader would be very, very helpful. And if it's supposed to read the temperature, I would be sending it back and getting a new one. Because I think that one, you just touch it down in the water and it tells you the temperature, and that would be nice, because I could go around checking tanks instead of grab a glass one out and move it over into another one to check the temperature. Mr. B's Fishing Thing says, Walmart sells concrete blocks, ? I thought of them first. The last couple of times I'd bought the concrete blocks, I went to Menards, and that's like a half hour away from me. So unless I'm going to a town that has a Menards or a Home Depot or something like that, I don't like to make special trips. So then I thought of my local building supply here in town, but I decided to go ahead and drive out to Walmart first and look at their gardening section to see if they have any before I go to my building supply. And sure enough, Walmart did have like 3 great big pallets of them. So I just walked inside, paid for 8 of them for the stand that I built yesterday, and yeah, they were $1 a piece. So that's what, you know, you want to pay for them. Sometimes at Menards they're a little over $1. I paid more one time. JC Tank says, I prefer 2x8s, less warp in the wood, and a bit of room for a shelf. Also, JC, 2x8s, you can hang them over the concrete block just a little bit on the front and the back, and you can put a 40-gallon breeder on them that way. And I learned that after I did my fish rack in my dining room, and I kind of kicked myself in the butt because I wish that I would have known that. But if I was going to set up a rack for a couple of 40-gallon breeders, that's what I would do. Is I would buy 2x8s and just hang them over in the front a couple of inches or so, and a couple of inches in the back, and then you've got it wide enough for a 40-gallon breeder. Oddball Aquatics, man, says, I flooded the 20-gallon today and added this sweet piece of wood I've been saving, and big shocker, it floats. LOL. Yep. V-Stag is in the house. What is up, Victor? He says, hit the like button. Thanks, man. Dank says, get a TDS meter that can be calibrated. Those are the best ones. That's what I've heard. Okay, Lumpy Dog just linked up the Aquarium Co-op tank rack build video. Cool. Mortal Slayer 82 says, gotta bounce, Jeff. Catch you later. Put 5 female and 1 male guppy in the outdoor tub. Awesome. That is awesome. Have a great night, man. Mary says, what's Menards? Is it like Lowe's? Yep. Menards is a chain just like Lowe's and Home Depot. You must not have them down in the Peach State. Mr. B says, wow, neat, not here. I didn't know what I was thinking that was going to be, because our Walmart has always kept like landscaping timbers, and then like pavers and different things like that, and like your flower bed concrete divider thingamabobbers, whatever you call them. So I went there thinking that they might not have them, but I wanted to check, and I could check that without getting out of my vehicle. So yeah, I was really surprised too, and I was pleased, because it's a lot easier than going to a building supply, because the building supply, you buy them and then you got to drive all the way back into a warehouse thing, and half the time they don't help you load them. So I was fine with just pulling up right next to a pallet at Walmart and loading them right in the back of my vehicle. Jesse Tank says, hang on a second here. This Aquafina water was full to the complete brim. So when I just now opened it, it just went everywhere. Jesse Tank says, I agree, the temp part is nice. I didn't know if I was overreacting. Yeah, I try to, unless it's a big, big hassle. Like, there's something sitting on my desk right now that was wrong. So, my iPhone, the jack in the bottom of it is not a 3.5 millimeter. It's like a little bit smaller than that. So your regular lapel mics won't plug all the way in. So you have to buy an adapter for it. Well, I bought an adapter, and that's what it said that it was. That's what they had it labeled as being. And this is that adapter, okay? So it's for a lapel mic to an iPhone. But I get it in, and it doesn't work. It's not the right size. So I wasn't going to do anything about it because it wasn't that expensive. And, you know, it's probably from overseas, you know, yada, yada, yada. So I wasn't going to do anything about it. Well, they sent me an email a couple of weeks later, and they were saying all these things about, could you please leave a review? How was your experience with our company? And I emailed back, and usually when you do, it's one of those do not reply emails, you know. You get an email back that says, do not reply to this email, yada, yada, yada. But it actually was a live person. But I basically emailed him back and said the product wasn't what you said it was. I said I thought I was purchasing a lapel mic to an iPhone jack. And I said, that's not what it was. I said, it doesn't work. And they said, ooh, you need such and such part number. We accidentally sent you such and such part number. So I assumed they knew what they were talking about. And I was like, great, thank you. And they said, we will ship one out to you Monday morning. And a couple of days later, I get it in the mail. And it's the same exact part. Exactly. So I can see where you're coming from. Sometimes when I order stuff online from overseas, I just take it in as a I got ripped type of thing. But if it's not too big of a hassle and the temperature doesn't work on your TDS meter, I would send it back and get what you paid for. JC Tank says, yes, started with them for my 40s too, then with the 20s, keep my food and stuff with the extra room. Yep, and then I also, on this wood on the ends, I put those little brass hooks, and then I hang like my nets and stuff like that on them. And then like you can see right there, I've got my Tetra granules right there, right beside the tank. So yeah, if you've got any excess left on the sides, you've got a little shelving spot, you know. Peace out, Mortal Slayer 82. Corey Boy Aquatic says, okay, catch you later. Got home, thanks. Have a great night, Corey Boy. Oddball says, all right, I gotta bounce too. Too many weekend projects, not enough time. Have a great stream, man. Smash that like button, people. Later, Fish Fam. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you. Always nice to see you. Jesse Tank says, how much are the ones that can be calibrated, Dank? And Dank's probably already answered him by now. A real person, now I know you're full of it. Jesse Tank says, I hate that. My backup iPhone does that too. Yeah, it's so stupid. It's like just like a couple of millimeters off from the original 3.5 millimeter jack. It's so dumb. Dank said they can be pricey, but when you buy those cheap ones, they just break. Look up Oak Ton or Hannah meters on Amazon. Over 50 bucks, I'd say up to 150. Peter says found Tetra 50-watt heaters on Amazon for $6.99 each. Wow. Now, Peter, are the Tetra ones, can you not adjust them? Because I think I've had the Tetra ones before, and the only thing I didn't like about them is you could not adjust the temperature, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, Charlie's asking the same thing. Charlie says, Peter, can you adjust the temp? That's exactly what, excuse me, that's exactly what I thought too. You guys ever have one of those days where you plan on doing water changes on all of your aquariums, and then You look at the clock and it's almost 8 o'clock at night and you haven't done any of them. That's what my day was. It's okay though. I mean, they're not bad, but Peter says, no, you cannot. I am on guppies, so 78 is perfect. Okay. Mr. B says, Eheim adjust. All right. We're at the bottom of the chat again. We still have 28 people watching, which is awesome. I'm loving that. So, let me go ahead while you guys chat amongst yourselves and look up and see what my next week videos are, because I can't really think of it off the top of my head. That's the worst part about being ahead on your videos, is you tend to forget what's coming up. You tend to just forget it. Because I uploaded the videos that are coming out this week, I uploaded 2 weeks ago. Alright, so click that. I found out something at my LFS today too. So all these baby zebra Danios that I'm raising, if I do sell them to him, I probably won't get very much money out of them because he uses them as feeder fish. So, I mean, that's okay. But whenever I do finally go through all this hard work of raising them up and feeding them like a buttload of food, they will eventually just become feeder fish. And I'll get like a quarter a piece for them probably, or less. Alright, so Monday is July 16th, and that is a working in the fish room video. I've got a new tank set up and I do some maintenance in that video. And then Thursday, forgot about this one, I've got a Pleco versus food video coming out Thursday, and it's a banger, guys. See if you guys can guess in the chat what the Pleco versus food video is. But Dank, I think you already know, so you're not allowed to say. Fishaholic Habits is in the house. I'm hiding in the shadows, guys. What is up, Fishaholic? Did you go to your meeting today for Fishaholics? Fishaholics Anonymous? That is funny. Tampa Tom says, what is your favorite type of nearite snail? I've never kept nearite snails. So I don't really have a favorite. I don't really know what they really look like, actually. So let me look. That's got me interested. I mean, you hear a lot of names out there and stuff, but nearite snails. I've never kept nearites before. Man, my internet is acting slow. Images. Ooh. There's some cool nearite snails. Wow. Gosh, that'd be hard to pick. Very, very nice. Wow, there is one right here that I really like. And it's called a horned nearite snail. And it's yellow and black stripes, so it kind of looks like a honeybee. It's pretty cool. Somebody said, do you use, let's see. Wow. Let's see here. What is your favorite type of nearite snail? Mr. B says, do you use a dehumidifier? I have never used a dehumidifier. My house always stayed really, really, really dry prior to having a bunch of aquariums without tanks on them. But this last winter, I did not go around with shocking myself nonstop. Our house in the wintertime usually gets so dry that walking across the floor, you grab the Roku and it just shocks your fingers. You grab the internet router and it just shocks your fingers. I mean, just. In this last winter, with all these aquariums, it didn't. So I've thought about that, but I don't have any kind of issues. There's no moisture buildup anywhere, so I don't know. What do you think, Mr. B? What do you suggest? Peter says Zebra Daniel project is science, Jeffro. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun. Like I finally did get my infusoria culture going really good, and now I'm fattening up those little things crazy good. Patrick Moray says, howdy all. Anyone ever tried Tums to give extra calcium and minerals to your shrimp? Never heard of that, and I've never done it, but that is very interesting, and I would like to know if anybody in the chat has ever done that too. Very interesting though. Bum, 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 bum. Nana. Oh, Nana. No, didn't do the banana yet. Tampa Tom says Pleco versus cherries. Nope, it's not Pleco versus cherries. Jesse Tank says he's done Tums for snails. Dank says my favorite kind is the dead kind. Fishaholic Habit says 14 hours out in the kayak fishing today. I'm exhausted to say the least. Sounds like a good day, man. Whoa, I just went crazy past something. Dank says Nearite lay eggs on everything. Mr. B says Pleco versus watermelon. Nope, that's not it either. Jesse says, don't Nearite snails need brackish water? Seems like they do to breed, but I don't think that they do to live. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Tampa Tom, if you're a Nearite guy, but it seems like they have to have brackish water to breed, so to reproduce. Dank says Nearites lay hard white eggs on everything, literally have to razor them off of wood. Mr. B says check local regulations on snails. Jesse Tank says definitely check local regs. I almost got a huge fine for breeding Mexican dwarf crayfish in Northern California. Ew. Yep. Peter says in Iowa winter is totally dry. Yep. We don't have any hills to block the wind, and a lot of wind in Iowa in the winter. Fishaholic Habit says Dank, I've had that. Paid in the backside. Let's see. It does work. I've seen it does work. Man, I'm so far behind in the chat. Maxwell Soneman says, good day, y'all. What is up, Maxwell? John Bedker says, Peter, are you in Iowa? I think Peter is in Arkansas, if I remember. If I remember right, I think Peter is from Arkansas. Mr. B says, Tums are safe. Cool. Mary says, yay, Pleco versus food. Yeah, nobody's guessed it yet. It's a pretty common thing that I feed, too. It's not nothing off the wall. But tomorrow I am going to go to the grocery store to make another one for couple or 3 weeks from now, and it's going to be something wild. Dank says I have only in my 33 and it doesn't lay eggs. Real thing for you says versus bell pepper. No, but that's a good idea. I bet you they would love it. Mary says Pleco versus squash. Nope, that's not it either. Close to squash. Charlie says Pleco versus ex-wife. LOL. I don't think anybody would watch that one. Tampa Tom says Fishaholic. Nice. I almost went kayaking today. Yeah, kayak fishing would even be fun. I mean, kayak anything is fun, but fishing added into it. So, Fishaholic Habits. I'll tell you a guy that does a lot of fishing and kayaking that you should subscribe to if you're not, and his name's Joe Robinette. He makes a ton of really awesome videos. He started his claim to fame from the show Lost, and he had that show aced. I mean, he was, or not Lost. What is it? Oh my gosh, I said Lost. It's not Lost, I don't think. it's one of those where they release these people out in the woods and alone. So he's from the show Alone, and he's one. If you look it up, what happened was he was kicking the show's butt. I mean, he's really good at primitive survival, and he lost his fire steel, and he wasn't able to make fires, so he had to give up because of that. So now all of his fire steels are always tethered to either his belt or his belt loop or something like that, you know, or his knife sheath. Jesse Tank says we both watch the same videos. Mary says LOL Pleco standoff. Maxwell Soneman says Pleco versus green beans. I do feed my Plecos green beans like once a week, but I haven't done that video yet. The biggest reason why I don't want to do that video is because they scatter all over the place, and that's going to be very hard to video my Pleco versus food video, because my Pleco versus food videos, if you noticed, I've done 6 of them now, and they're all kind of like a billboard, and they're, you know, steady. They stay pretty much right there. Now the watermelon, it was kind of cool because it would go back and forth. That was really awesome. But green beans are going to be all over the tank. Like this tank back here, when I feed them green beans, the green beans go everywhere. I mean, them little boogers get in there and go crazy. It's kind of hard to do a time lapse, a close-up good time lapse when the green beans are going to be going everywhere. So I've got to come up with some way to feed green beans to where they don't go everywhere. Do I put a great big like goldfish bowl full of green beans and slowly fill it full of water and then lower it down, and then they go into the goldfish bowl and go after them? I thought about that, and maybe I'll do that, but Mary said Tums is sodium bicarbonate, but I think it is high in calcium as well, I believe. Or maybe there is a Tums that has calcium, high grades of calcium in it, but I think that's right. Maxwell says, I'm going kayaking in a couple of weeks in northwestern Australia. There's wild rainbow fish and archer fish and crocodiles. Ooh. Awesome. That sounds like fun, man. Mr. B says 10 o'clock here. Yeah, it's 8:06 here. Mary says, I must be tired. You're always tired. You go to bed early, too. But you are an hour ahead of me, so yeah. So right now it's like 9. It's past your bedtime, though. Chronicles of AJ says, how do I protect my wallet from women? Make sure there's no cash in it. Make everything on plastic nowadays. I hardly ever have any cash on me. The only reason why I get cash when I'm like out somewhere is because my teenage son will all of a sudden out of the blue ask me for some cash, and it's like, I didn't want to get back out tonight. So then you end up giving him your card, and then he forgets to give it back to you for like a day or so. Mary says Pleco versus Peach. Nope, that's not it either. Steve says stay broke, AJ. Works well for me. Yeah. Fishaholic Habit says 2 a.m. here. Mr. B says buy fish stuff, no dollars left. Yep. She asks you for money or asks you for your wallet, says why aren't there any money in it? Say, well, the money's right here. It's all in that stuff. Mary is curious like the cat. She says carrot question mark, celery question mark. Nope. And then she says what's close to squash? Well, it's like squash. It's a lot like squash. Pleco versus pumpkin. Nope. Not banana. Pleco versus beetroot. Nope. John Bedker for the win. Pleco versus zucchini coming out this Thursday. I almost didn't do it, but there might be some people out on the internet that don't feed their Pleco zucchini, but that is a staple. I feed my Pleco zucchini all the time, and I don't even blanch mine. I don't know. John, do you blanch yours? I don't. I never do. I never have, and they seem to do really good with it. All I do is just chunk it up. Now in the video, I cut the zucchini right down the middle, so I had the whole big chunk, in there. And I wouldn't normally do that. I would just put smaller chunks in there. But Jesse Tank says, I feel ya. I was that teenage son till last year. Maxwell Soneman says cucumber. I already did a Pleco versus cucumber though. Yup, John doesn't blanch his. I don't either. Bob says I was blanching, but they prefer not. Cool, that's good to know. I always try foods, and then if they have a trouble eating them, then I think about maybe blanching them. But I remember someone had recommended me to do pumpkin, and they said you had to blanch it first. But I wouldn't have thought you would have had to have blanched pumpkin because it's not really hard. Let's see here. I just seen Valley Fish in the chat. I'm pretty sure I saw Valley Fish. Yep, Valley Fish is in the house, and he says, hello, what is up, man? I love the Instagram picture, and I was going to comment on it, and I was in a hurry. There is a plant, just recently, like maybe last night, you posted a picture on Instagram, and it's got green and like a red leaf to it. Some of the leaves are red, and some of the leaves are green. What is that plant, man? I love that thing. Mary RNH2O says, pumpkin sounds close. I will probably try my best to hold off for pumpkin to do the Pleco versus pumpkin around Halloween. I'll try to time it out where I do it then and have some really spooky, like Rob Zombie music or something like that with it. That's what my plans are. So if I see a Rob Zombie music Pleco versus food video out there, I'll know that they stole my idea. Pete Berlinski is in the house. Says, hey guys, what is up, Pete? What is up? I had missed you in the chat too. Yep. Jesse Tank says, that's old school right there. You don't need to blanch them if your Plecos are big time eaters. These guys back here, originally, I got all 30 of those things for free off of a Facebook Marketplace post, and I just happened to be on Facebook at the time the guy says, free Plecos to a good home, and I commented, I want them, and then I got to thinking, what kind of Plecos were they? I didn't really want any common bristlenose Plecos, and I sent back, what kind are they? And he said, commons. He said, there might be up to a dozen. And I got to thinking, well, okay, I could probably take them. And I get there, and there was probably over 30, and then there was also some super reds and some calicos. We caught one super red and one calico and 30 of the commons, and they were only like an inch, inch and a half, inch and a quarter long. Got them for free. I was going to grow them out until I could tell sex, and then take out maybe 2 reverse trios and just start a breeding project. But they have turned into the stars of my Pleco versus food videos, so I'm going to keep them. And they haven't started breeding yet. I think my females just aren't really ready yet. They're not big enough or old enough yet. The males are getting huge, and they're starting to cave up and different things like that, but the females just aren't there yet. Fishaholic Habit says, night everyone. Think my eyes are broke. Take care, guys. Good night, Fishaholic Habits. Hopefully you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Steve says, thanks for the stream, Jeffro. Gotta run. Hope to see you Monday at Joel's. We'll be there, buddy. Thanks for coming in, and I appreciate every time you're here, man. Valley Fish said, just green beans for mine. What's your favorite? Just green beans for your... green beans are probably my favorite. They love green beans. Actually, every fish in my whole house has ate green beans. Every shrimp in my house, I mean, the snails love them, the shrimp love them, the fish love them, the plecos love them. So I would say green beans, but I do feed zucchini, green beans, and cucumbers pretty much regularly. Zucchini and cucumber not as much. Cucumber, not as much as zucchini. But my L183s and my L182s, their favorite is zucchini. Sherry Sweeney's Fish Room is here. She says, "Hey Jeffro and everyone, what is up, Sherry?" Valley Fish said, "You want some? What is it, Valley? Did you say? What is the plant?" I didn't see him say what the plant was. It's beautiful. I would definitely take some. Mary says, "No, it's calcium. I was half asleep." Bob says, "My Severins and Rainbows steal zucchini from them. Those guys love the seeds." Yep, and I even had some seeds get knocked off onto an aquarium one time, and they started to sprout and everything. I was like, what in the heck is going on? I'd never had that happen before. Maxwell Soneman says, "Pumpkin, ... Would they like it, ? Well, that's what this Pleco versus food thing is. I've got a series going on my channel right now called Pleco versus food, and I try to pick out bizarre foods that people don't really ever feed to their Plecos, and I don't feed it right off the bat to my really expensive rare Plecos, but these common bristlenose back here, they're kind of like my guinea pig for it. I do them due diligence by researching the food to make for sure there's no real issues or problems with it, and it's not high acid content, different things like that. I try to make for sure that it's as safe as possible. I did almost make a mistake. I bought some avocados once, and I laid them out on my counter, and I was planning on over the weekend doing a Pleco versus food with avocado, and one of my subscribers that was in the chat said, "Do not feed them to your Plecos. There's a poison that is not good for fish, cats, and dogs." And sure enough, I looked it up, and so it's really important that any of this stuff that I'm feeding, that I do research it and try to make for sure that it is safe before I feed it. But I would bet money that these Plecos would tear up some pumpkin. These guys are aggressive eaters. They've never turned down any food that I've ever put in the tank. Ever since they were 1.5 inches long, I have fed them tons of different food. They get a different type of food every day. And on one of my live streams one night, I was pulling out all the foods that I feed, and it's just, I just keep on switching it up. You can't feed them veggies every day because they need time to recoup after they eat some veggies, so you've got to feed some dry foods to them as well. Dank says city morgue music. Yeah. Jesse Tank says, "How big are the commons?" The females are less than 3 inches long. They're like 2.5 inches, 3 inches long. They're getting close. The males are like 4 to 5 inches long. They're really ready. But the females are just, they're getting close. I'm going to try some things this weekend to get them going, because my super reds, I've got a female that is full of eggs right now, but I can't get the male to really get interested, so I'm going to do some pheromone water in there, do some cold water changes, and shut down the lights for a good 24 hours and try to get these guys in the mood this weekend, because she's full of eggs and it's time. And then on the commons, I'm going to try some things like the pheromone water works really good. You take a tank that is really doing good, like I've got an albino bristlenose tank that just produces clutches like once to 2 times a month, and you just take a bunch of that water out of there, not a bunch, but like, you know, a deli cup full of it, and pour it in there, and it starts, the pheromones start getting them going. Valley Fish says, Rotala macranda really needs CO2. Mine is holding on in ADA soil. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not really wanting to do any CO2, so I'll probably pass for now, but man, it's a beautiful plant. It looks like it's doing great. Maxwell Soneman says, wait, common plecos or common bristlenose? Common bristlenose, yeah. There's only one common pleco in the whole house, and it's in my son's 55-gallon community tank. But yeah, I only have bristlenose plecos. I've got some commons, some super reds, and some albinos, and then I got a couple of different strains of the starlight plecos. Mary says pumpkin would be cool. Yep, I'm going to wait until sometime in October, right around Halloween, and do the pleco versus pumpkin. Jad Orsi says, what did I miss? Had to walk the dogs. We did a giveaway while you were gone? No, I'm just kidding. No, we're just hanging out still. Brandon from Mr. B says, if they never breed, I once had some that were sterile due to heavy meds from previous owner. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think they're just really young. I think I got them in like February, and this is July. So, you know, my super reds, I got them, and 6 months later I got them to spawn. That's really a short amount of time. You know, they were probably like 8 months old, somewhere around in there. I mean, they say it's the size that matters, not the age, but usually, you know, bristlenose plecos have to be around a year old. And these guys right here, I got them in either January or February, so they're probably like 8 months old, somewhere around in there maybe. It's the 7th month, so they're probably around 8 months old, maybe 9 months old. Yep, Jesse Tank says, common plecos? No. Common bristlenose I'd love, yep. Well, if you love common bristlenose, I've got like six pleco versus videos. One of them is albinos though, so my pleco versus cucumber is albino plecos. It turned out pretty good. There's a couple of shots that I wish I had back. The tank is right down here that they were in, and it's an old tank that I got off of Craigslist, and there's some scratching and stuff like that, so there was a couple of the time lapses in that video that were a little blurry, but I still think it turned out good. Valley Fish says, it's a full red plant with CO2. Don't dose anything really. Looks nice. I kind of like that some of them are green and some of them are red. Mary says, I only have clown pleco and a bristlenose. Yep, I've got a clown pleco as well. But I probably got 300 plecos in this house, counting all the babies. I mean, down here, right here alone, is probably 70 albino bristlenose plecos, 2 different sizes. And then my son has probably 60 babies in his tank. And then I've got a 10-gallon in here that's got probably 30 baby super reds, and then I got another 10-gallon that has 30 baby super reds, and then I got like 30 back there. You know, I've probably got 300 or 400 plecos in this house. Mary says, can they eat mushrooms? Yes, they can. I was thinking about maybe doing a portobello mushroom, like a great big one. That would be a good video. I've got that on my list of things to do. Those cap mushrooms are really good for baby bristlenose plecos as a grow out fry food. Mr. B says, wish we were closer, I'd trade you some, change up the genetics. Yeah, that's a great point, because these common bristlenose plecos back here, there's some of them, when they were babies, they almost look like starlight plecos. There's some really cool ones in there. And the mom and the dad were common, both of them were common bristlenose plecos, but they would throw out super reds and calicos every once in a while. So the super red and the calico that I got 2 super reds and a calico. They were brother and sisters to these. So I'm kind of wondering what these will throw. Will they throw all commons, or will they throw a super red every once in a while? I kind of can't wait until they get going. It'd be kind of fun to see. But what I'm going to do with that tank, though, is I'm going to allow the fry to grow up in there. I'm going to let it go all al natural. The super red tank, I always pull the eggs, and that's the same way I do the albinos too, because I like to take them out and grow them out separately. But this tank back here, I'm going to let all the eggs go in the tank natural and let them grow out in there. And that's just going to be my pleco versus food tank, and they'll just be the stars. So Mr. B says that's an Eric Bodrock trick, works great. I got the idea from Jeremy from over at Sergeant Tank Pets. If you're talking about the pheromone water, that's where I got the idea from. Tampa Tom says, Jeff, did you see Corey's last fish room tour where they put the CO2 in the upside down bottle in the tank? I thought that was cool. That was very cool. Looks like he had a smaller, probably 30-pound CO2 cylinder, and he had a regulator on the top, and he had a hose that went to like one of those green or glass wands, and then he had a lot of them were Gatorade bottles, and then he had a little piece of styrofoam inside there. So when the styrofoam would go to the top, that meant there was no CO2 in it. And then whenever the CO2 was at the bottom, that meant that it was full of CO2. So it was kind of like a gauge as that would rise. But he would stick that wand down in there and hook it up and under the bottle, and then he would release and open the tank, and it would spray the CO2 in there, and it would make that little styrofoam piece. That was amazing, Tampa Tom. I loved that video. Bob said he likes it more than his store. I see why. Yeah, Corey nerded out big time on that store. You know, I mean, and it looks like an amazing store. And one thing I like about it, and Corey as well, is a lot of those tanks, they don't do a whole lot of water changes. They just add back evaporation, and I do that in a lot of mine too, the heavily planted ones especially. Mr. B says old defusers used to be just a glass tube held on with suction cups. Yep, and that's what it was too. Jad says she loved all the DIY craziness they had going on. Yep. Seems like that one little tank where the lady, the wife, I think it was coming over. She was like house sitting some fish for some people that were going to be gone for so many weeks, you know. So I thought that was cool too. Mary says, plecos need help every now and then. Yeah, they do. This female the other night, she was on the glass, and I mean, it looks like an egg is trying to poke out of her. So, and I know that they, you know, I kind of messed up. Like a week and a half ago, I had a male guard in the cave really hardcore. So I thought that there was some eggs in there. So I got the camera out, I got it on the tripod, and I set it all up. And I zoomed down there, and I started talking about how, you know, I was getting some eggs out of there, and he flies out of the cave, and I pull the cave all the way out, no eggs. So I think he was starting to do it then, and what might have happened is he might have thought there was some eggs in there because some pheromone stuff was going on. And then when I scared him out, it was like what I've done every time that he started fanning eggs, which is take them out. So I might have messed it up. Big Ease says, hello Jeff, what is up Big Ease? Welcome to the stream. Going long tonight. We're probably just going to keep on going. There's still 23 people here, so as long as I've got some people here, we'll just keep on going for a while. Everybody saying hi to Big Ease. Valley Fish says, ever thought about using apple wood for the plecos or other woods? I haven't really. I've got some Malaysian, and it's a little bit softer. So I've got some Opani, and then I've got just some basic types of driftwood. But and then I've also got some spider wood. Like right there is a big, not a real big chunk, but a chunk of spider wood. So in that tank I've got that spider wood, which is more of a hardwood, and then I've got that driftwood, which is quite a bit softer. and it's a baby pleco grow out tank, so I really wanted to have some softwood in there. There was one time that I left for a weekend too that I threw some leaves down in there to give them something to munch on. But there's tons of mulm down there in that aquarium. But I never have thought about doing any kind of applewood or anything. That's kind of interesting. Do you do that? Maxwell says it was awesome. Yeah, no water changes sounds like heaven. LOL. Yep. I've gotten to where I don't do them as often as what I did and as much as what I did. But it's because I've got everything going real smooth. So if things start to go back the opposite way, then I'll go back, you know. Mary said that's a lot of plecos. Yeah, I know. They take a long time to grow out. And that's why I'm looking, like right now I'm looking into getting a 40-gallon breeder for my super reds to grow them out, because they just grow out quicker whenever you have them in a bigger aquarium, you know. Jesse Tank says, what's your favorite pleco? My favorite pleco is, and I've got 6 of them, is the L182 Starlight pleco. And I just recently did a video where I gave an update on them. So if you want to go and look at that one, it is really a nice pleco. They're getting right now where they're losing the seams, so they're just only the Starlight. I've never kept a blue phantom though. They're very nice. But yeah, I've never had a blue phantom. I'll probably need to add some plecos one of these days. Mary says I want a blue-eyed bristlenose albino pleco. Yep, they're very beautiful. Very beautiful. I love them. I don't have any of those. Well, we are at the 1.5 hour mark. We've still got 23 people in here. Bob Kaler says, Mary, albinos can't have blue eyes. They are yellows. Yeah, they're just a different, you know, their color looks kind of like the albino. My camera is doing a bunch of weird stuff tonight. Keeps on zooming. It's like it's trying really hard to pick me up. It's not supposed to do the zoom. So whenever I do this, see how it comes off a focus of my face? It's not supposed to do that. I've got the automatic zoom shut off on it. It's kind of stupid how it does that. Bob says true albinos have red eyes. Pretty too. Yep, they are. Adrian says, what plecos do you want to get next, Jeff? I would love to have the L134, I believe it is, the leopard frog pleco. I've got a buddy that is trying to breed those right now. He's got 12 wild caught, and you know, it's just taking a while to get it going. I think they're young. I would love to have those. I would like to have some zebra plecos, but I'm just not ready for them yet. Mary says, I still want a tank with plecos only. Yeah, I just set up 2 pleco only tanks, but the first thing I did was I added some snails, and then to help with the substrate, like my Malaysian trumpet snails, I like to have those in those pleco tanks with gravel and stuff, because the food that they don't eat, those Malaysian trumpet snails will just make colonies down in the substrate and keep that substrate really good and clean. And then on the first pleco tank that I set up for the Starlight plecos, I put a bunch of male endlers in there, and I'll probably do the same thing with the second Starlight pleco tank, the L183 tank. That video is coming out Monday. So I've got that tank set up. I didn't end up putting any plants in it. I just put hardscape in it, and then I do already have my L183 plecos in there. And what I will do with them is I will make that an all rainbow tiger male endler tank eventually. And I love those all male endler tanks. They really look nice. Valley Fish says, trying to keep up with the chat and water changes not working so well. I'll tell you what happens to me. So last week, I think I was on Bob's Monday night stream this last week. I was doing water changes on this 40-gallon breeder right here, and Dozer was laying right next to my feet right here, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, a bunch of water just started spraying everywhere, and I thought that he was peeing on me. And I was like, at first I was just like, whoa, Dozer. And I look, and I mean, water is just coming off of this 40-gallon breeder like crazy. So I had to jump over him and run all the way out there into the sink and get it shut down. But yeah, it was bad. It doesn't always work for me. I got to be able to focus. Like, my son will come in here when I'm doing water changes, and he'll start telling me a long story. And I always like to look at people whenever I'm talking to them. And I have to keep on going like this out of the corner of my eye and stuff. It's really tough, man. I know what you're going through. Pete Berlinski says, I want to get more plecos and other catfish. Yep. My fish room tour video that I did today at my local LFS, he had a catfish in there. Can't remember. I think it was called the... What is that one catfish that sounds kind of... I'm going to sound like an idiot saying this, but it's like the... Something Odontus catfish. Something Odontus. He had one of those in there, and that thing looked amazing. And it's little, but I think they get big. I used to have some type of catfish one time that was like spotted, and it was like brown, and I had it in a big 125-gallon aquarium, and it got really large. It was awesome. John says, I've got 3 blue phantoms, a 6-inch and a 5-inch male, and a 4-inch that I think is a female. I can't wait to come video your fish room. It'd be really nice if you'd send me an email to kind of tell me what we're looking at, you know, if we're looking at like a couple of months or whatever. I mean, your fish room doesn't have to be perfect for me to come. I mean, the first ones that I did were today, and they both went really smooth like butter. And it sounds like you've got some really cool things. And it'd be cool to be able to show what all you've got to all of our subscribers too. Devin says, hey, by the way, Jeffroz, zebra plecos in my area are dirt cheap, $75 on Craigslist. Dang, that is cheap. Lumpy Dog says, sorry, I'm back, marriage duties. Mary says, what's the most expensive pleco right now? Ooh, that's hard to say. I know that the last time I priced the zebra plecos in my area for like 10 of them, I think it was $1,200, something like that. And they were only like 2 inches long, I think. Jeremy asks, how late you going, bud? I'll probably go for about 20 more minutes, so I'll go 10 your time. I hadn't really planned on it, but I just didn't have anything going, so I kind of been just telling people. I've still got like 20-some people in the chat, so I'll go for another 20 minutes, Jeremy, and then I'll get off. Valley Fish says, no water on the floor yet. Had to pause the race. It was getting crazy. Yep, Devin Peppers for the win. Synodontis catfish. My LFS had one of those today, and it was really nice. John Bedker says 22nd or 29th of this month works for me. 29th, I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to see Jeremy from Sergeant Tank Pets, and so I'll be out of town that weekend up in Michigan. The 22nd, I think that's next weekend, so that would work for me. If that works for you, I'd be down with that. The 22nd is next Sunday. So if that works for you, that works for me. I don't know if you're following me on Instagram, if you want to send me a direct message or something like that to, I think I gave you my email once. If not, you go to my About section on my YouTube channel, and you can find my email that way, John. But the 29th will not work. Jeremy from Sergeant Tank Pets says, should I go live? I think it sounds like a good idea, man. King Lee says, I'll take the zebra plecos. What is up, King Lee? How's it going, man? I still need to get up and film your fish room too. That would be an easy, I wouldn't even have to stay the night to go to King Lee. I'm only like 3.5 hours away from King Lee. I need to get up and film your... Ever since you launched your website and everything, we could maybe, hopefully, spike it a little bit. John Bedker says, I'll email you the address. Awesome. Pete says, I'd love some zebra plecos. I would too, man. They're very pretty. The only thing is they're just different. You've got to set them up different than what you do your other stuff. Like, I think you got to have a sand substrate. Got to have high flow. You got to feed them totally different because they're like a carnivore. They're a little bit picky with their water parameters. So, yeah, but I would like that. Mr. B says, do it, Jeremy, right after Jeff. Mr. B's is hankering for another live stream. King Lee says, my little place. Well, you know, what I like about doing fish room tours is, like, I think Corey's came to yours and did a video before, but my videos are a lot different than theirs that I do, so it gets a different perspective. You know, me and Jeremy talked about that. You know, people have done fish room tours of Jeremy's place, but mine's a different perspective. You know, I'll bring a different story. You know, me and Corey have never met before, and me and Jimmy have never met before, so we make different videos. You know, we have a different perspective. You know, Corey might be thinking about something totally different, and when I go there, I might be thinking about this, you know, and, you know, I don't have as many subscribers as Corey does, but I think I would be able to paint a really good picture of your little place. Mr. B says, no one close enough to film my place but me. LOL. Yep. And I haven't even done it all yet. Yeah, Dank's the same way. Dank, every once in a while, will send me a picture and I'll catch something in the background. I'm like, man, surprises. Like, he sent me a picture of one of his fish the other day, and I didn't even know he had those. He said, yeah, I got them back in October. Yeah. Valley Fish says, yep, video King Lee. I want to know what he has. Yeah, I reached out to King Lee a couple of months ago, but he was getting ready to launch his website, and he was doing some changes in his fish room. So he said, we'll do it someday, but just not right now. So I'll get with him one of these days. I live close enough to him that I could do it anytime. You know, like after I get Jeremy's done, I'm supposed to go to see Lucas in August. And, you know, after I get those out of the way, I'm going to have to go back to Colorado now, too. I didn't get Colorado done this weekend, so. Devin Pepper says, you should just come get these, Jeffro. If you have room, these zebras are a steal and would save you lots of money. Yeah, they would, man. Dank Tank says surprises. Yeah, Dank has some surprises. D Smith 21 is in the house, and he says, hey everyone, what is up, D Smith? Welcome to the stream. We're going to go for another 15 minutes or so if you want to hang out with us for a little bit. Yep, King Lee says, you are welcome to come for sure, Jeffro. I know. I just got a really busy summer. And, you know, that's something that I could always do this winter, too. I mean, it would be nothing for me to come up to the Twin Cities at all. I mean, it's a nice interstate all the way there and everything. And I could leave early on the morning and get there about mid-morning. And, yeah, we'd have a good old time. You could go take me somewhere that you like to eat up there. And, I'll tell you what I need to do. I really need to make a weekend of it because I think that place, that fish store up there, Calm Waters or something like that, he asked me one day if I would come up and do a fish room tour. I think it's called Still Waters or Calm Waters or something like that. You've done a video on the place. Devin Pepper says, Dank, what are you hiding? Secrets. Dank has, like, he has to edit all of his videos on his cell phone, and I could not even imagine having to do that. So Dank's content is a little slower. I mean, it's been 3 weeks since he did a video. He's working on one right now. He'll get better at it. Plus, he's working 2 jobs right now, too, so. King Lee says tamed waters. Yep. So I could do that on the same weekend. Go to you and him at the same time. So Dank Tank says, it's annoying. LOL. Yeah, it would be annoying. Gosh. Because I've got a 52-inch flat screen TV right in front of me right now that I'm looking at. So my chat right now is like this big on the screen. And that's what I edit on. I couldn't imagine going back to a small screen to edit, you know, and try to look at all that stuff. I mean, I've got mine right here on a big flat screen. So like Black Friday almost 2 years ago, so this Black Friday of this year to be 2 years, I found this TV for nearly nothing, and I just hooked my HDMI cable up to my laptop and right into the TV, and that's my computer screen. King Lee says, I need to come check it out for some zebras. Down in Des Moines, there's a guy that sells zebra plecos. And I'm pretty sure, I think Adrian, if he's in the chat, and maybe John Bedker's been there too. I don't know if the guy does ship, but he's got zebra plecos. But the ones that Devin's talking about are over in Illinois for $75. Potato. The guy in Des Moines is like $100 a piece. Mr. B says, so I bet this stands out on that big screen. Yeah, it does. I would be blind without it. You know, I've got 42-year-old eyes. Devin says, you should. If you have an email, I can send you a screenshot of the ad. Bob Kaler's Fish Hobby says, what's this editing you speak of? I use, what is the one I use now? Movie Studio Platinum 13 from Sony Vegas. That's what I use. And I've got a 52-inch flat screen computer screen. Yeah. Bob. Alright, so we've still got 24 people in the house. John Bedker says, yeah, I got 10 from him. You got 10 zebras from him? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much fun. I'm going to love your place. I guarantee you. Me and you are going to become friends, John. Devin says, I'll be right back, King Lee. So tomorrow's order of business is, it's a must. I have to for sure get probably 2 of my fish rooms water changed tomorrow. And then I've got 3 videos to edit. I've got to shoot the intros and the outros for them. And edit them, render them, and schedule them on YouTube. Got to get that done tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be pretty much, and then I've got laundry to get done. See, tomorrow is the halfway point of my vacation too. So I've got to get busy. I got to really get busy. Bob says, just started posting videos a couple weeks ago and use my phone still, learning the basics first. Yep, definitely. Fish Out of Water Aquariums is in the house. What is up? Pop and Fresh. LOL. What is up, Fish Out of Water? Brandon says, Bob, I use my phone. Bob says, Sergeant Tank Pets, I am moving forward with the filament barbs. Plan to get started by Tuesday. Cool. I've never kept filament barbs. Dank Tank said, should you go live? Question mark. Who you talking to, Dank? You talking to Jeremy? Because Jeremy's talking about going live, and since he's kind of quiet in the chat right now, I'll bet you he is going to go live. Why can't I get rid of my... There we go. 10 minutes left, guys. Flood me with... Let's do some kind of... Comment. Everybody comment where they're from. Let's do that. It'd be kind of interesting to see. If you don't want to say the town, say the state. Dank is from Buffalo, New York. Auburn, New York. Yeah, Dank, Dank says New York, and I'm sitting here telling where Dank is from. Bob Kaler says, yep, Brendan, several people recommended phone at first. I'm posting daily right now. Oh my gosh, Bob. That's crazy. JC's from Peoria, Illinois. Cool. Bob Kaler is from Tennessee. That is awesome. Denny's Aquatic, Chicago. Tampa Tom. Yeah, Tampa Tom, you're from Florida? I wouldn't have guessed. Mr. B's is from New Brunswick, Canada. Lumpy Dog is southeast Michigan. Cool. G. Cunningham, Seattle. Awesome. Punchy is southern Wyoming, close to Colorado border. Yeah, Dank says thanks. Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it, Dank? Well, that killed 1 minute, guys. Doesn't take very long for 24 people to say where they're from. I'm really kind of out of stuff to talk about. I've got a female Inler over here. I can't remember what video it was on. Well, it was on that little summer tub update video that I did this week. So you know the female Inler that was really fat and pregnant over in this 40-gallon breeder. She wouldn't let me catch her. She wouldn't let me catch her, so, you know, because she was great big and pregnant. So I tried like 10 times, couldn't catch her in time for the video to post. So I went ahead and posted the video, and still will not catch me. She's even dropped all of her fry, and she still won't let me catch her. Every time I go even close to the tank, I wave my hand. You would think since she had all of her fry that she would let me catch her, because I wanted to throw her out there. I wanted her to drop her fry out there, but still can't catch her. So that's kind of crazy. I've never had that before. So Mr. B says Punchy. I thought it was close to Australia. Chronicles of Chris's Fish Room, always lurking, Alberta, Canada. Mary RNH2O is a Georgia peach. Lumpy Dog, what was dinner? Mine was beef brisket sandwich with smashed tater tots and a fried egg. I had roast beef and cheese with mayo and sour cream and onion chips and a granola bar. That's what I had for supper. For lunch I had a chicken salad sandwich with those little twister chips, whatever they're called. They're like a Frito, but they're twisted. Mary says, pizza leftovers here, Lumpy Dog. I love pizza leftovers. Punchy says, oh, that's right, next door to Australia, LOL. Jad's from Janesville, Wyoming. Cool. I flew over Wyoming one time. I've never been down on the ground, but I flew over Wyoming during the daytime, and it was in the late winter months, so March, and it looked really desolate down there, like really gray and dried up, but that doesn't mean anything. Seems like, if I remember right, it took a long time to fly over the state. Mr. B says, here we go with food again. Yeah, I decided to go, you know, trying to fill the next 6 minutes here, Mr. B. So, Dank Tank says, me too, way crispier. I used to warm up leftover pizza in the microwave, but I got a Pizza Hut box one time that I took home with Pizza Hut pizza, and there was a recipe on the side of it for, well, cooking directions on the side of it to reheat pizza. And ever since then I've done it. It's like $3.75 for like 7 to 10 minutes. And the pizza is pretty close to like freshly baked. Prolific Breed is coming in at the clutch at the end of the live stream here. He says, hi Jeffro and fam, dropping in to hit that like button. Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Punchy says Wyoming is desolate. Yep. It's what it looked like from up above. Punchy says it also has the lowest population per square mile. Yep, I could see that. Devin Peppers says I'm back. Jad says, sounds like my kind of place. Prolific Breed says, sorry, busy setting up new tanks. Well, don't be sorry, man, that's good. Mary says, vacation, question mark, you should be chillaxing. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do. Like, Monday and Thursday's videos of this week are up, but like, you know, like today I had to go to those two places. I gotta do laundry. I've got to do laundry, so even when you're on vacation, you got to do that. So Prolific Breed says lost track of time. Mr. B says, well, thanks for the stream, Jeff. Good one. Thanks for coming, man. Lumpy Dog said, oh, Jad's from Wisconsin. I said Wyoming. Lumpy Dog, Wyoming, where you get to get off the grid. Jad Orsi said loose meat, corn on the cob, sugar snap peas, and apples for dinner. Here. Dank said that wasn't me. Yeah, I know. It was one of my 16-year-old son's buddies. Mr. B says, hit that like button, everyone. Help the guy out. Yeah, Dank said loose meat. That sounds good. Oh, that sounds wrong. Loose meat is just like, what do they call it? What is that old, gosh, you guys might not even have them there. They call it something else here. It's like a ground beef that's all ground up sandwich. It's a ground burger, but instead of being in a patty. Tank says you can't get down with loose meat. Tampa Tom says Pleco versus onions. I would have to check into that because I know onions make dogs sick. I didn't know that until probably about 3 years ago, and there was this lady that had some dogs, and one of my dogs was really sick, and she said, he didn't get into some onions, did he? And I go, no, I don't think so. I said, sometimes, every once in a while, I'll feed them food scraps that have onions in them, and she goes, don't ever feed your dogs onions, it's poisonous to them. So, I don't know. I would be leery of doing the onions, Tampa Tom. Jad said, LOL Dank Tanks, it's just cooked ground beef with a bit of gravy. Devin says Sloppy Joe's. Made Rights, John Bedker for the win. Made Rights. So here in Iowa, it might be other places too. It wasn't in Missouri, but there's this place called Made Right, and that's what they do is loose meat sandwiches. And they don't have gravy or anything like that. They've just got onions in them. So it's just a bunch of ground beef cooked down to where it just kind of melts away in your mouth with onions. Dank says, yum, maybe I can get down with loose meat. Lumpy Dog says, Dank gets warning number 1, ... LOL. Manwich, yep. Yep, Tampa Tom says, oh, I'm assuming it's about the onions. And I don't know, I could probably look into it, but I bet you they would be hard for them to eat too. You know, because onions are kind of harder. Gerald Dimer, we have a Made Right here. Cool. Yeah, Made Rights are good. They've even got like cheese rights. So like I think it's their fries, they put cheese on it, and then the burger, it's like a sauce is what it is. And the burger, you can get it with cheese sauce on it. There's one down in Ottumwa that I can't think of the name right now, but it's like a really big deal that a lot of famous people have went to. And it's like under the bridge. It's like under a bridge, and like you walk in there and they say how you want it. It's not like they say what would you like to order today. It's like that's what you're getting, but how do you want it? You want onions, pickle, mustard, mayonnaise, what, you know? Jad says loose meat equals ground beef with a bit of savory gravy like a sloppy Joe minus the tomato base. Cool. Well, to me, loose meat, which I think it's just got to do with different areas, loose meat sandwich to me is, you know, ground beef with onions, and then you can put a slice of cheese on it and some mayonnaise and salt and pepper. French fries with poutine. Devin Pepper says, what is your favorite pleco you own? And then what's your favorite fish and what's your kid's favorite fish? Oh my gosh. My favorite pleco I own is my L182 Starlight plecos. And then what's my favorite fish? My favorite fish of all time that I've ever kept was probably my pacu. He was sweet. I had multiple pacus, but I had one was named Sinbad, and I could open up a can of green beans and rinse them out real good and let them dry, and then I could pour the whole can of green beans in, and he would have them ate in like 3 minutes. And then I could put a whole raw carrot in there, and he would just, and you can just hear his teeth. And what's my kid's favorite fish? That changes all the time, man. Tampa Tom says pleco versus potato. I thought about that. That is a good idea. All right, guys. We are at the 2-hour mark. It's been a while. It's been probably a month since I've done a 2-hour. I love to do those every once in a while. I didn't ever see in the chat if he said for sure that he was going, but be on the lookout. Maybe Sergeant Tank Pets will be going live here in a little bit. And thanks for coming to the stream. Don't forget to check out my video Monday. And don't forget to come back here the same time next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Peace out, y'all. Peace out, y'all. And have a great weekend.